So hi, my name is John Palgett, and the name of this talk is You Need a Supervisor. Bit of background, I work at a company called Grio. We're a software agency, consultancy, app studio in San Francisco. And we generally work with startups that don't have development teams or have a very small development team. And so the client I've been working with for the past year is a company called Sutro. And they're building a IoT device that goes inside your pool and it measures your pool chemistry. So it'll say like, oh, your pH is too low or your pH is too high, alkalinity is a little bit off, and then give you recommendations about what chemicals to put into your pool. So a bit of background on the architecture of this project. The API that we built in Elixir is sort of on the right here. And all those little water bottle looking things, the Sutro devices, they connect to Amazon IoT Core over a protocol called MQTT. And they send messages which get queued up into an SQS queue. And then we sort of pull these messages off of the queue as soon as we can, whenever the API is, while the API is up. So if we go down, it's not a problem. We can turn the API back on, fix the problem, and it'll continue processing messages from the queue like nothing happened. But so one day, before to back it up, they still haven't launched this product yet, so we're kind of in super beta. And so one day the client was kind of tooling around sending MQTT messages, and they said, hey, the site's down. It stopped updating the readings in my app. What's going on? And we're like, well, that doesn't happen. This is Elixir's Erlang, it's Beam. It doesn't crash. It doesn't go down. And so we went to the logs, and we're like, hey, what's going on? And I couldn't find the logs, but they looked a little bit something like this. They're like, starting the application, starting the event consumer, shutting down the application. And we're like, what? Like, what do you mean, what? So our logging was a little poor, and we went and added some logs, redeployed, and we're like, hey, we're going to solve this, guys, trust us. And so back to this architecture, what we found out happened is the client, while they were pretty technical, they didn't quite understand what JSON was, and so they're putting poorly formatted messages into the queue, and enough of those messages got put into the queue that when the app started up, it would pull a malformed message off and crash, and then restart, and pull another malformed message off and crash and restart, and pull another malformed message off, crash, and restart. And there's this thing about supervisors and processes that I didn't realize until now. There's a max restart and max seconds properties when you declare your children processes. So if your process crashes n number of times within m number of seconds of starting up, the Erlang Beam says, hey, this is not something that could maybe fail. This is something that's going to fail. I'm going to terminate the supervisor of this process. And so I went and looked at our supervisor code, like our application code, and it looked a little something like this, where we're just sort of spinning up the event consumers and producers and directly sticking them right under our application. So we'd start up, we'd grab these malformed messages, we'd crash, we'd do it again, we'd crash, we'd do it again, we'd crash, and then Erlang's like, whoa, let's kill the parent to that process, which was our entire application tree. So that's not good. So lessons learned, like this wasn't something, we were all relatively new to the Elixir ecosystem. We'd done some hobby projects and some other projects, but this is the first production-ready system. So what are the takeaways? What can we learn? What can we do better next time? How can we prevent something like this from happening again? Use a supervisor. That's always good. Have somebody monitoring your process that's meant to monitor your process. So if it crashes and you run into this situation, that process goes down, not your entire application. Better logging and better monitoring. This is, a must-have, right? Like at first it just said, hey, shutting down the app, and we didn't even log what messages were coming through or things like that. So that was a big oversight on our part. And then additionally, we decided that this portion of our code was so mission critical that we didn't want that process to just ever go down. So now we wrapped it in a try rescue, and if malformed messages come through, or sometimes the device sends us a string instead of a float when it's measuring temperature or something, we handle that message and we log it and we say, hey, something went wrong. please don't crash. Like, we need this to continue processing messages. So and that's it. Thank you.